Hello and welcome to the Scale Modelling Cafe and welcome to the discussion video on Eduard 2024 Part 2. Probably going to be quite a short video actually because Eduard have really sort of trickled out their announcements for a while now. So we know they're going to be doing a 48 scale Stuka, probably a D version first by the look of it. We know they're going to be doing a P51B Mustang in 48 scale. We already know that. We heard very recently that they're going to be doing a 1/72nd scale P51D Mustang, and I spoke about that on a previous video. And we know they're going to be doing a complete 48 scale P40 series, starting with the P40E next year. Now, some little bit meat on the bones of that. So, got the old Galaxy tablet iPad screenson down here. So, just so I get this right, a few little bits and pieces. So, the P51B, they're anticipating that they're going to have a full set of molds ready by sort of March, April time. So the model should should come out relatively quickly after that. They're talking about Easter, so launching it at Easter. It'll be a dual combo. May they're looking at. So they're looking at May. So that was that one. Right, the 72nd scale P51D. They don't actually announce that. They're going to start machine tooling that in imminently, later on this month, January. So I'd imagine we'll see that in Q2 at some point. Right, what I'm going to do is just talk about something that Vladimir mentioned in the newsletter at the end. But the only other new tool that we hadn't heard about for next year is 72nd scale, the Albatross D3. And I'm not really a biplane guy. I'm certainly not a World War I biplane guy. I'm not really sure what I've built. I've built the Roden 1.5 strutter, which was a dreadful kit back in the day, quite a long time ago now, and that's probably about it. But there's, I quite often I've put some kind of Albatross or some type of World War I German thing in my shopping cart, and then I take it out again. I really want to do a German World War I thing with either a wooden fuselage or a brightly coloured fuselage and lozenge decals on the wings. I think that looked really cool. Maybe this is going to be the one. I think 72nd scale is obviously going to be very small, so therefore I think that's going to be a very impressive model. I think, highly detailed 72nd scale models are just I just think they're more impressive than 48th and 32nd scale, really, because I just think it takes a lot more skill to get the same level of detail in the smaller scale. And I think that's a great choice, and I'm actually really quite excited by it, and I'm definitely going to get it. I always get an Eduard new tool when it comes out. Invariably, I get it normally as and I've explained this before in my Eduard video, I get the Overtrees version, because their molds, they do suffer from wear, and the older sort of moldings, the newer moldings of an older tooling quite often will have, the mold seams and some flash coming and things like that. Not that old molds. So I tend to just buy it when it comes out and whack it in the stash as an Overtrees, and then I'll buy all the aftermarket I need for it when I want to build the model. I have changed tack slightly in that the 72nd scale May 109, ME 109, in the dual combo boxings, I tend to get those straight away. They're not that much money, and I want to build two anyway, so I do get those the initial dual boxing releases. But and no doubt this will come like that as well. So I think that's a really really good choice. When are we going to see it? Let's have a look. Do they mention anything? I imagine this is probably going to be a later release. It's just CAD. No, they don't mention anything. It's in the tools making phase. Well, there we go. So maybe Q2 as well for that. Right, now some gouge about the P40E, the Warhawk. They're still working on the design of the kit, and it's going to be released in October, is what they're looking at it. So I'm definitely going to get that, and it's definitely going to be in 112 squadron markings, obviously, and I'm definitely going to design all the shark's mouth and bollocks. So they're going to do, then they're going to do the K. That's the one with the big fat tail. I'm not so much of a fan of that. Then the M and the N, which I really like. I have got the N in 32nd scale that I'm going to do in Dutch markings. I really must do that. I keep saying that, and I never get around to it. And they're going to do the F and the L later on as well, which is going to be brilliant. That's a glaring gap in the market. I'm surprised they're not doing that first, because that's probably a least popular one. That's the Merlin engine versions. Loads of really cool schemes for that, especially the French desert ones. British versions, Kitty Hawk Mark 3 and 4. And they want to have the Kitty Hawk Mark 3 ready in November so they can bring it to Telford. So that is really cool. I'm not going to be at Telford, but yeah, that is amazing. Okay. Now some gouge about Mustang in 48 scale, British Mustang Mark 3. And they're going to do one for Polish pilots, and they want to have that out in Telford and in 72nd scale. So really, really, really exciting stuff. So nice detail there on the timings of some of the releases. It's nice to get that detail. Now, they don't always hit their target, especially with the later targets. Obviously, if they're saying that, you know, a model's going to be ready in a few months, that's going to be pretty accurate. If they're going to say a model is going to be ready in November and we're in January, there is risk that it may slip, that it could slip. And if they say it's going to be out in November and it doesn't actually come out in November, is that such a big deal? I don't think so. If they're going to have the P40 ready for October, then there's not much slippage there for Telford and November for the RAF ones. But we shall see. We shall see what happens. But it's really nice that they actually give us that extra level of detail. You know, companies like Airfix, I've literally just finished filming the Airfix video. Sorry, just looking at my watch. The Airfix video, because, you know, they just say what's coming and they don't give any timings on there, which is fair enough. But, you know, the fact that Eduard do, I really like, even though sometimes they may miss those. It's not a deadline, is it? Whatever. I can't think of the word. Schedule. There you go. That's a good word, isn't it? I've just noticed my hair. Just awful. Need to cut that today. Right, the last thing I'll talk about is something that Vladimir said towards the beginning. And let me, if I can find it, read it out. If I can't, I won't, clearly. Oh yeah, one thing. They're not going to do the Bouchon in 72nd. That's a shame. Or 48. So that is a shame. Right, if I can't find it, I'll just start blurring on. It's down here somewhere. Right, so the P40, 48 scale B. Just trying to, go put the kettle on. So we said May, didn't we? Or was it in this paragraph? Right, hang on. Sorry, I should have done my research first, shouldn't I? Rather than leave you hanging. Right, they're going to do a P50. I should have mentioned that. They're going to do the P51B in 70-second scale. Interesting to see how that's going to compare with armour hobbies. So really, I ought to build armour hobbies sooner rather than later, hadn't I? Maybe I'll build both at the same time and do a bit of a comparison. Right, here we go. This is the line I was looking for. So I'm hoping this is worth that rather crap piece of video. Maybe I'll just cut that out. I don't know. Right, it says, right, I expect there will be questions about future releases and especially whether or not there will also be a P51B. So this is in the context of 70-second scale. The answer is yes, there will be. Everything we've released so far and will release in the future in 48th will also release in 70-second. It's always going to take us a little while, but that'll be the pattern. And it's good to know that you can count on it. Those kits will be at least as good as our Gustavs. That's obviously the 109G that's just come out. And they won't be more expensive either. I'm betting that you all know how to count. Right. So what I get from that is we are going to see everything. Well, I say what I get from that. He's just said it. You know, can't get any more clearer. Everything that they've done in 48th, they're going to do in 72nd. That means Spitfire Mark 5, Spitfire Mark 1, Tempest, Wildcat, Mustangs, obviously that we know they're doing, P40s. All these recent releases definitely coming out. And, you know, and clearly they're starting that run of models with the 109. He also mentioned about 32nd as well. Let me see if I can find that again. Right, so talking about the 109s, they've sold 260,000 sprue sets of all the 109s in all scales, which I think is amazing. Clearly it's a 109, so it's going to sell really, really well. However, we only have a few subtypes left and will be done in both main scales. So 72nd, obviously, and 48th. In all honesty, I don't think that the attempt to keep this family at a peak by making the Bootchen is not the way to go. So now what? Looks like I might have to change my mind about 132nd scale. So that is a real tease. A real tease. They've not really dabbled in 32nd scale, have they? The BF 108 that came out was not their moulds. And the ME 109Es, which I think are really nice kits, but they're quite old now. And we haven't seen anything else in 32nd scale from them. So, are they looking at doing Fs and Gs in 32nd scale? That's really intriguing. I would love to see more 109s from Eduard in 32nd scale. I would love to see a Spitfire Mark 5 in 32nd scale. I think that would be amazing. I would love to see a Wildcat in 32nd scale. Just a real tease. Whether we'll get more information, who knows for 2025. But maybe we'll get a 109 in 32nd scale in 2025. It's really intriguing. But overall, some really nice announcements from Eduard for 2024. They're clearly suffering a little bit business-wise. They're scaling down the sort of more esoteric stuff. You know, the Z37s and, you know, that the kind of the indulging ones that, you know, if they've had a good year, then they can, you know, release something that they know is not going to be such a good seller. You know, like the Zlin and the Z37s, as I said, you know, like worldwide, obviously very popular in the home market, but you know they're looking at global sales. So the fact that they're bringing forward things like Mustangs and they're pushing right things like Blanick gliders, I think is sensible actually, and if it shores them up for, you know, to get them over this cost of living crisis and then on a stronger footing for going forward, then so much the better. But exciting times for fans of Eduard, exciting times for 72nd scale fans. I'm hoping for the Spitfire Mark 5 next year. It means the 72nd Seafire conversion that I did is not going to get usurped straight away. As much I would love to have seen some Spitfires this year, but exciting times. Right, there we are. I'm in danger of starting to waffle on like I normally do. Thanks very much for watching if you've made it to the end. Thanks very much for sticking through the crap bit in the middle where I was searching through the newsletter to bring you the horse's mouth words. And yeah, I think it's exciting times in 2024. Brilliant. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.